Hello and welcome back. Today we will discuss the order of operations. Now, the order of operations is a fundamental principle that you discuss and learn before you move on to something called mathematical expressions. And the reason being is that mathematical expressions will have not only negative and positive integers, but they'll have different functions. For example, you'll have parentheses that are inside of brackets. And then you'll have lots of, you'll have addition, you'll have brackets, you'll have division and multiplication oftentimes included in one expression. And the problem is that if everybody created their own method and their own way of doing a mathematical expression, there would always be a different answer. So they had to create a system where we would do things in a certain order. And that's what the order of operations is for. Okay, so basically, there are only a few steps. And if you're doing a mathematical expression that has parentheses, but doesn't have a division, so you would just skip over what it doesn't have. Or if it has, parenthesis and multiplication, but no addition and subtraction, then you would skip over the step. So the first step in the order of operation is to perform all operations that are in grouping symbols, starting with the innermost grouping symbol. So grouping symbols are parentheses, these brackets, and also these. There are some brackets that kind of look, I'm not drawing them correctly, but there are usually three different types of grouping symbols that you'll see: parentheses and the two types of brackets. And you want to start with the innermost first, and a lot of times they will use parentheses. And let's just say 2 plus 5. And then you'll have, the reason why you have brackets is because, let's say, there will be a 4 right there. And then a plus 8, So if there were no order of operations, some people would just do 5 times a positive 8 first, or some people might do the 4 times the 2 and then add the 8. I mean, there has to be a certain way. So rule number 1 says, Step number 1 says grouping symbols first, starting with the innermost grouping symbol. And here, the innermost grouping symbol are the parentheses. 2 plus 5 is 7. And so that should be the first thing that you solve. Step number 2. Oh, I forgot to also add the fraction bar. This line that you see when you're doing fractions, and you'll have a number on the top and a number on the bottom. That is another grouping symbol. Okay. The second step is to simplify all exponents, and an exponent is simply when you have a number squared or a number cubed or anything like that. So after you deal with your grouping symbols, which will be parentheses, brackets, the fraction line, then you will deal with your exponents. N to the power of 2, n cubed, and exponents can also be, it's not always just a number. Sometimes it's what you do with the number. N to the power of 9 minus 3, so whatever your exponent is, you do your exponent. If you don't have any, you would skip that. Okay, and number 3, multiply or divide in order from left to right. So, multiplication and division. And the key to this is left to right. Okay, so if you have 2 plus 3 times 4. Oh, well, according to the order of operations, you are not going to add the 2 and the 3. You're going to figure out what 3 times 4 is first, and then you're going to add 2. So 3 times 4 is 12. You got your 12. You can put that in parentheses if you want, but you're going to move that plus sign down, because if you don't move the plus sign down, it's going to look like multiplication. When you have a number right next to parentheses with nothing else there, it's implied multiplication. So that was in fact a 2 plus, so you move the plus down. And so 2 plus 3 times 4 is actually 14. Okay. And the fourth step will be to add or subtract in order from left to right. So let's write those symbols down. So an example of that would be 2 minus 3 plus 4. Well, where do you start? This is addition and subtraction. You will start from left, which means you start with the number 2. 2 minus 3 is a negative 1. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3. And there you have it. Stay tuned for part 2 of the order of operations, and we will do a couple of expressions. Thank you.